This is the Hori Fighting Commander Octa Pro. It comes in this nice looking box here, and here's the controller. It'll work on the PS5, PS4, and PC. I have the original Octa here, and I also have the Tekken 8 version. This one added a little nub right here. They're all pretty similar. As you can see, as time goes on, the body gets fatter and fatter. Look at this guy. This is way fatter than the original. And unlike these two, the new one, you can play it wired. Here's the cable, USB-C to USB-C. It's about 10 feet long. And it also comes with a wireless dongle too. In addition to the standard default D-pad here, this is a hybrid D-pad. It also comes with two additional D-pads. This one is flatter, and this one is your traditional cross-shaped D-pad. Now let's go around this controller real quick. In terms of build quality, this is pretty well built. It's very light though, so it feels a little hollow, and it just looks nice, right? You've got 6 buttons here, so it's good for Street Fighter. We have 4 really big shoulder buttons. You got a D-pad here, an 8-way stick, and then a little small nub here for the right stick. You also have 2 additional back buttons, and this is really cool. Down here there's a switch to lock the menu buttons. This way in the middle of a match you won't accidentally press the option buttons. And also up here there's this little thing that comes off, and this is to lock the cable. Push this guy in. Bam! Now it's locked. In this review, the format is going to be a little different than my previous videos. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's start with the good. There's a lot to like here. First and foremost, I love these buttons. They're my switches, micro switches. Really short travel. And just so satisfying to use. They're really quick. You can also play claw with this guy pretty easily. Surprisingly, this handle here doesn't get into the way too much. The shoulder buttons are nice and big. They're easily accessible. And you can also see that they're tapered off on the side. Because it's tapered off, it won't interfere with your index finger when you use this for leverage, when you do 360s. So I like that a lot. I also like the fact that these back buttons are on the handles. It just makes it easily accessible. Well, the other good news is diagonals are so much better on this controller versus the previous 2 versions. I cannot for the life of me get diagonals to work correctly on these 2 controllers. But with this guy, it's improved a lot. And the other thing that's really good about this controller is the stick. This is actually viable to use for fighting games. Let's talk about the 3D pads real quick. So if you play a 3D fighter like DOA here, you should use this one. You should use the cross D-pad. Just snap it on. Because diagonals are so crucial in this game, so by having these gaps here, you can feel where to press for diagonals. But with this, of course, circular motion is going to be a lot slower because you're going to have to slide your finger and then fight through the gaps here. If you play 2D fighters where it uses a lot of motion inputs, then this flatter one is better for it. See, now you can slide your thumb around, no issue. Now with the hybrid one, this is a little bit in between, right? If you don't want to be switching out D-pads, maybe stick with this. The crush shape is low enough where you can slide it around pretty comfortably and you can still feel the gaps here. So there's a lot of good there. There's a lot of improvements here in this controller over the previous versions. But before you run out and buy this controller, let me tell you about the bad and wait until I tell you about the ugly. It's really ugly. So the bad, as much as I love the switches here, the switches on the rest of the controller are terrible compared to these. The D-pad itself uses rubber dome based switches, and there's no pivot on here. you can press it right down the middle. Originally, the Razer Ryan did not have a pivot, and it made this controller unusable for me. But ever since I installed the pivot, look at this, you can't press it down the middle anymore. It has turned this controller into one of the best controllers for fighting games. Now you may be wondering, what's wrong with not having a pivot? What does it do? If you press it down the middle, you're going to get random inputs. And when you're sliding your thumb around, you're going to inevitably press the middle, and that's going to trigger random directions. And of course, with random directions, it's going to cause you to drop your combos. And you know what's crazy is if you open the app here on the PC, you go to D-pad settings, Hori knows about this pivot. That's why there's an option here to disable SOCD. That means simultaneous opposite cardinal direction. So without a pivot, if you press down the middle, you potentially could activate both opposite directions at the same time. So what do? They put an option here to disable that. Instead of putting a pivot here, they just give you an option in software to disable it. And I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I heard that Nintendo owns the patent for the pivot on the D-pads. If that's true, I guess Hori just doesn't want to pay Nintendo to use that, which is a shame. Because even with this option enabled, you still have the problem of your thumb just being able to press in the middle and then activating random directions. These rubber switches are mushy and they're heavy. Of course, if they're heavy, they're going to be slower than something like this, right? Oftentimes when I want to do a half circle in combination with one of these face buttons, this will happen. This is the motion of the half circle, but because the face button is faster than the D-pad, the face button comes out first before the D-pad is finished. And that's annoying as heck to deal with. Speaking of half circles, that happens a lot. Okay, so here's the motion. The down button is missing, but why is the down button missing? Part of it is because there's no pivot. So when you glide your thumb around, there's nothing here in the middle to force your thumb to go down and then up this way, right? You can just go straight over and then you skip the down button. I cannot reliably use this controller to play bass because of this very reason. Now the other thing is, who thought it was a good idea to put the D-pad right next to this raised platform for the joystick? Why are they so close to each other? When I want to do a half circle, when I get to down forward, guess what happened? This thing blocks my thumb from going up. I have to constantly fight through it. What makes this worse is the edges here are sharp now versus in the past. You see how it's smooth? So it's a lot easier for me to glide my thumb around. But even here, why is this so close? Make it further apart. I understand that on the original Octa, there's not a lot of space here to work with, right? The body is really thin, so the D-pad and the joystick have to be close together. But now, look at all this space, this extra space that you got. Like, come on, move it down. And can we just make this thing flat? I swear, sometimes I test these controllers and I get pissed off. I feel like they don't even test these controllers on fighting games, and they advertise it as a fight pad. But wait, there's more. I'm just pissed off. Okay. Why is this D-pad so tiny? I don't understand. Look at my thumb, okay? My thumb literally covers the whole entire D-pad. This is a DualSense Edge. You see how there's plenty of space around my thumb. This is a pro controller, right? So this controller is not made for kids. I mean, just look around. Everything else is big. Big buttons up here, big face buttons, big everything. Tiny D-pad. And the problem with smaller D-pads is that you can't really feel your way around. There's just not a lot of space. It's just cramped. Alright, so that's the bad. And here's the ugly. You wouldn't know it by looking at it. Because this controller, let's be honest, it looks cool. Now here's the issue. You see the handle? Okay, it comes down and then it curves inward. You see how my wrists are bent like crazy, right? Versus something like the DualSense here, you see the handles are flared out a little bit. You see how my wrist is a lot more straight. This is just not comfortable at all. I cannot use this controller for long sessions. My wrist would just burn up. Actually, my whole forearm would just burn up. It's as if I just strained it. It was crazy. And it's all due to the lack of ergonomics on this controller. I literally cannot use this controller without hurting my wrist. You can download this app here to remap your buttons and also to upgrade your firmware. So the minute that you plug it in, it's going to try to update your firmware automatically. To make changes, click on the profile, click edit, then you have two options here. Button mapping, then you just pick whatever. Unfortunately, you can only remap one button at a time. And you can also adjust the D-pad settings. You can do the D-pad sensitivity. I do recommend you disable SOCD because it doesn't have a pivot. Okay, let's do some polling rate tests on this guy. For minimum input delay, we have 0.5 milliseconds. Maximum is about 22 milliseconds. Jitter is pretty good at under 1 millisecond. In average input delay, we have 1.22 milliseconds, which is excellent. That's because the polling rate is at a blistering over 800 Hertz. Insane. In terms of the wireless dongle, minimum we got 0.82, maximum is 31.91. So the range here is a little bit more than on wired. Jitter took a big dip here at about 1.6 milliseconds, and that's going to explain the variance here. The average input delay is essentially doubled, and that's because the polling rate is halved. But still, at 400 Hertz, that's still pretty good. The only concern here is the jitter. Anytime when you play wirelessly, it's not going to be as stable as wired, obviously. And the results here for both wired and wireless, that's pretty good. This is one of the faster controller that you can get. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, also shame on me. Fool me 3 times, I'm just done with you. Honestly, I am done with Hori, man. I was suckered into pre-ordering this because of the additional fight pads here. I mean, how cool is this, right? And also the back buttons. But honestly, when is the time when you lose trust in a company, right? This is 3 times in a row where I feel like Hori did not test their controllers on fighting games at all. I really feel that Hori just has a whole bunch of check boxes so that they can market a controller and sell as many units as they can. And they don't really care how this thing performs. They don't really care about the ergonomics. It's all about throwing in as many features as they can so that you'll be suckered into buying their product.